If you're anything like me, you refuse to be held back not by time, not by expectations, and not by needlessly throwing money away into the pockets of big wireless. Thankfully, there's a better way with Consumer Cellular. Consumer Cellular offers the same fast, reliable, nationwide coverage as big wireless without the big wireless cost. And they don't surprise you with hidden fees or confusing long-term contracts. For a limited time, you can sign up for Consumer Cellular and save $50 with promo code TED50.
Visit consumercellular.com/TED50 or call 1-888-FREEDOM and mention promo code TED50.
Terms and conditions apply.
Can we be honest now about this? Is our first moment as podcasters. Can I be honest about how nervous I've been? Several days in a row, and then waking up this morning, I'm literally shaking.
Here's the conversation in my head the last couple of days. It goes like this. Well, Woody, how have you been? No, that sucks. That sucks. So, Woody, no, shit.
Because you think it's going to be stilted, self-conscious, which in a way it is, but so far.
The idea of doing a podcast together, it was kind of interesting at first, but I didn't know what that could mean or anything. And then we got together and we sat around a fire and talked and all of that. And one of the things you said was, the reason why I said yes is so we could hang out together. And that really is the truth, wanting to hang out with each other, because I know you from 30 years ago really well, or as much as one does, in that situation.
Pretty well. Yeah.
But I don't know the 30 years since then, really. I mean, we would touch bases once or twice a year and we'd hang out once a year or something. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm really looking forward to meeting your friends, the people you've worked with, because you have been very prolific and it'll be fun to meet them because I don't know most of them. And I want to introduce you to my friends that I've worked with.
Is prolific a euphemism for whorish?
Oh, no.
This is really trippy, and I'll tell you why that I'm here. First of all, Ted, we don't know each other, but I've obviously, like the rest of America, feel like I know you well. Woody and I have known each other for a number of years. Not super well, but well enough that and as you know, Woody's one of those guys, as soon as you see him walk in the room, you feel better.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's true.
Thank you.
And I watched you guys watching Arrested Development in here when I was out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Ted, what you don't know is I saw that he was watching the scene.
My favorite.
Which is Woody's favorite scene. I know because he's told me. And we were once in the south of France, and Woody, he reenacted the scene to me at Bono's house. That's a true story, right?
Yeah, that's true.
To the point that Bono was mad that we weren't coming to the table. Do you remember? He was like, guys, come on, you can do it at the table. True story.
It's my favorite thing, dude. I think it's one of the greatest moments in the history of television.
Well,
it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Was that one take, by the way, do you think?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I told you it was one of the worst days of my life.
Yeah, like you were having some real struggle.
I was having a real struggle. I was in the middle of getting divorced. And I had one of those awful days where on the way to work, I pulled my car. We shot that up in Santa Clarita. And on the way up there, you pull off, and I pulled my car to the side of the road because I was crying so hard. True story. And I was like, I can't do this. How can I go and do this?
Right.
And then I got there, and Mitch Hurwitz, who created and wrote Arrested Development, is a brilliant guy. I got there, and he's just such a sweetheart of a guy. And he was like, "Yeah, you're gonna be okay, man. Let's just get there." First of all, he's also like,
"Yeah,
we got to get the day. We got to get the day, right, guy?" And then that scene ended up happening. It couldn't have gone better.
I mean, because I know I was there was a good deal of improv in the show, or because you did a lot of improvising in that scene. I mean, you're just the thing of what?
Oh, here he goes. Now I know what Bono was thinking.
These questions. What is it? What these? Should the guy?
It was such a. Here he goes. Here he goes. Woody's on his.
$32. Bad. It's my favorite. I've done it a million times in front of people who are like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like, even if they've watched it, they don't remember and it's out of context.
They're like, come on, man. You know, that scene was a combination of, first of all, we had, and you guys have been there before, where I had the benefit of such great writing. So I was the beneficiary of that all the time on that show. And that particular gag of Job doing the stuttering, the should, was a callback to a thing that he used to have from a few seasons before. So I get there to do that scene. The only thing that sort of occurred to me in the moment, and that I improvised in the moment, was the idea that I was wearing her house coat and she was wearing my shirt.
Right.
So I thought it was kind of funny if I started saying should, and I started making her the value of, usually it came from a bit where I used to say in the old show, in the earlier episode, should the guy in the $4,500 suit take it from the guy who hasn't made that much in a month? And then I'm mad, right? And I'm pumping myself up. And I thought it'd be funny if she's wearing my shirt that I start pumping up her shirt and also devaluing her frock that I'm wearing.
One of the great episodes of television ever.
Well, so this is what I want. Thank you. I mean, and also on behalf of Mitch Hurwitz, I'm lucky to have been a part of it. But what I want to talk to you guys about and talk about great episodes of TV. You guys, I think you know, and Woody, I think I've told you that I'm maybe the world's sort of preeminent Cheers fan of all time.
Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God.
Of fucking all time. I am.
Thank you.
So last night, and this is not the first night, knowing I was doing this, but I have spent the last few months working on this thing, and I was like, I got to go back and rewatch as much Cheers as I can, because I was always such a fan. And I've been watching all these episodes for the last few months, well, long before I knew I was going to be here with you guys.
Not to prepare, but because of something you're about to go do.
Yeah, because for me, it's the gold standard of television sitcoms. It was it. And I made my son watch this scene last night, my 12-year-old, who's a funny kid, Abel. And I said, come watch this scene because it is the perfect meeting of great writing, great directing, and tremendous performance. And it was episode 25, season 4, which is so crazy. Episode 25.
You do have a great memory. Go on.
Well, I just saw it last night, in fairness. Right. There's so many great moments in it. You and Shelley Long, Ted, have this huge argument. And she's going to quit. She's had it. You're dating the woman who's the politician.
Right.
And she's told you she's jealous and she's told you to get rid of Diane. And Shelley Long goes, and you guys are all standing there. And I've mentioned this scene to Jimmy before, because I think, to me, you guys go, you have this huge argument. She storms out of your office and you're at the bar and you come out to the bar and Shelley Long goes to the top. She goes to the door, and Carla is standing just at one of the tables, but behind there's a little divide. There's sort of like divide, coat rack, door.
Right.
And Carla's standing there, Rhea Perlman. And Shelley Long gives this long-winded sort of farewell to the troops. But lo, I've tried my best, and et cetera, and so yet you shall never see Diane Chambers in Cheers again. I bid you farewell. And everybody's like, what the? And she walks out the door. And then the door opens a little bit. And her hand comes in. And she starts reaching for her coat at the coat rack. And Rhea Perlman grabs the coat rack and just pulls it a little bit. And her hand, and she's just said, you'll never see me again. Hand. And she falls into frame. And Rhea Perlman goes, hey, look, everybody, it's Diane.
Odds are pretty good that was Jimmy's bits, too. Jimmy is the best at physical bits.
So good at physical bits, but also you have to have people who are willing and able to do it.
Yeah.
And so much of the time, everybody in that cast just delivered. I can't believe it. I watch that and I marvel at it. I think that to me feels perfect. Like when you hear a song that has that perfect melody and you're like, and it gets you in a place of like really, really satisfies you. Watching Cheers really satisfies me. I go, yep, the rhythm is perfect. The delivery is perfect of the line. Just all of it.
Even the set was great.
The set was amazing.
We got to do theater. Everyone was alive. Everyone was on camera in the background or in front or whatever.
Incredible. And even if you had to go to the back thing and you had to go to your office, you had all those pieces, but it was all right there. And Woody.
And it's all lit.
And you came in, what, season four?
Yeah.
At the start of season 4, which I just rewatched that episode of your first episode. It's
after losing kind of the heart and soul, Nick Colasano, who died, and he was the heart and soul of Cheers, and in walks Woody, and in 5 seconons, it's captured everybody's heart. It was really amazing.
It really is Woody.
That's nice of you to say.
It's true. It's true. I imagine it. You keep winking at me now. It wasn't true. No, I'm kidding.
No. He can't see this eye from where he's sitting. Why make life harder than it needs to be? With Consumer Cellular, you get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as big wireless, but without the cost of big wireless. And switching is easy. And I'm talking to you, Nick, because pretty soon you're going to be switching because these commercials I'm reading are going to convince you to do it. I guarantee it.
I feel myself being convinced.
I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Consumer Cellular is here to serve you with an award-winning team of real human people based entirely in the U.S. There are no activation fees, no hidden costs, and no long-term contracts. They even have partnerships with AARP, USAA, Assurion, and Allstate Roadside Assistance.
Ted, I know you made the switch recently to Consumer Cellular.
I did.
How's the service been since switching?
I can tell you I put it into a test because I live in a canyon, and service is, usually drops out like mad, and I haven't had any dropouts, so that's pretty cool.
That's a good stress test, being in a canyon.
Yeah.
Like literally canyon?
Literally.
You're at the bottom of this huge...
I'm not huge, but, big enough to... Are you trying to get me to tell you where I live?
Can you post the address on the screen? Let's get Ted's address up there.
For a limited time, you can sign up with Consumer Cellular and save $50 with promo code TED50.
Visit consumercellular.com/TED50 or call 1-888-FREEDOM and mention promo code TED50.
Terms and conditions apply. So we're here to learn because you do have one of the best podcasts.
Dude,
I
think I've watched or heard over 100 episodes.
Really?
Without question. Yeah. I mean, like literally, I have to wait for the next one to come out in order to... because I've heard everything.
Wow.
I love it. You guys are the tippy top of the tippy top. It's so great, man. It's so funny. And also great interviewers. Like you really do great interviews, even though supposedly two of you don't know the guy coming on.
We legit don't.
I'm sure. Hey, listen, you got to stay with that narrative.
I will tell you this morning, I did one this morning, and I was worried that I logged on too early, and I actually thought I don't want to see the person because I like the surprise.
Yeah.
And then I don't feel, when you don't know who it is, you don't feel compelled to do anything.
Yeah.
Other than just be in the moment and have a conversation.
Serious question?
Go ahead.
What do you think we should be focusing on as new podcasters? If you had any advice, seriously, because
I can't believe anybody would ask me for advice.
I'm writing this down.
It's going to be short. I don't know. When we started doing it, we just wanted to talk to each other and have fun. And that was kind of really it, just to kind of screw around. And we couldn't believe that people wanted to hear that. And I think one of the things that made it maybe work was the fact that we are just very open about what's going on in our lives. And if you do that and you're not putting on a persona, whether that's good, bad, or, indifferent, it works. And so you have moments, all of us, and also you need to have really good editor who calls you and says, hey, last week you said blah, blah, blah. Are you sure? And I'm like, no, don't cut that.
But do you
you got to trust your peeps.
Yeah.
And these people do not look very trustworthy.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I know what you mean.
The one on the left, we believe the one on the left. The other two are a little.
We believe these two. No,
these two, I don't know. They look like moles to me.
Now, you guys aren't in the room together, are you?
We're never in the room.
Well, see, that's where we're different.
Yeah.
We're
I like
in
the
the room.
energy. It's nice.
It is nice. It
Yeah, it's
really
nice.
is. Yeah, for us. I mean,
I'm not saying we're better than you guys.
No,
I'm just saying we're in the room.
It feels like you're saying you're better than us.
Well, you're not in the room, really.
It feels like it's a long way to say you're better. Or the advantage that we have that you guys have is that you've known each other a long time.
And that's why I think we both wanted to do this, was because we knew each other so well for 8 years that we were on the show together. But then 30 years have gone by, and we'd see each other once or twice a year because of life and all of that. So I don't really know Woody. I know my heart and how much I love him, but I haven't really caught up with him. And so this is like this great.
Is what he means. We haven't cuddled in 30 years.
Let me be honest. And just a real thin slice, Ted. Do you think Woody's changed?
This is one of those awkward moments.
Oh, Lord.
He's bound to have. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, he's bound to have.
No doubt. In a good way.
Good way. Yeah.
Thanks for that question.
No, I mean,
I like the honesty of it, the integrity of it.
Yeah, sure. I don't have a ton of integrity, but it comes out every once in a while. God, I just want to talk about Cheers. I know you guys are going to be bummed out if all I want to do is talk about Cheers.
We want to talk about you a little bit, because I wanted to ask you about your mom, who was supportive of you.
Yeah.
You know, that's pretty rare.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of moms are going to be like, there's no way you're going into showbiz. You're not going to be an actor.
Yeah, I think that my parents were I grew up fairly, Canadian, but fairly conservative-ish. You know, my dad for many years was a corporate lawyer, and then he went into business for, one of his clients and people he worked with. And my mom, she had done some theater in Toronto. Even after she'd had kids, she'd done some stuff, kind of what you would be considered to be sort of off-Broadway. And so when I showed an inclination for this and nothing else,
yeah,
when it turned out I was good at nothing, except for goofing off, I think that they were like, okay, great. Well, at least he's interested in this. Let's support him. And I got to give it credit, to my mom and to my dad too, because this was really far away from what he did.
Right. And he was like worked at Molson.
He did at the end of his career. He ran Molson.
But he was like a corporate lawyer.
He was a corporate lawyer, and then he was on the board of Molson, and then he ended up being CEO of Molson at the end of his career.
None of your family had any kind of, well, you said your mom, but
no,
you didn't have an example in your family of, this is a valid.
Not really. I had my cousins. My mom's cousin and her husband were quite accomplished theater actors and television and film in Canada. Nancy Polk and her husband Joe, and so I got to see a little bit of that, and they were always at the Shakespeare Festival and Shaw Festival up in and around Toronto, and very accomplished actors. But in terms of sort of this kind of the major leagues showbiz, no. I moved to New York in 1990 when I was 20, and I didn't know a single person, and so it was scary. In a way, but I also was really excited about getting out into the world. I'd gone to college for half a year and I quit because I thought I saw people going down the same route, and I was like, I don't want to go and do that. I don't want to be a lawyer. I don't want to be an investment banker. And a lot of people I knew have gone to do that. And by the way, that's what they enjoy. So that's great. And I remember my buddy Jimmy Vallely. I don't know if you know Jimmy. I quote him all the time. He's actually
You're talking about
he's a writer.
Yeah.
Yeah. The great
super funny.
Great
good friend of Bill Maher's.
Jim Vallely, good friend of Bill Maher's.
Yeah.
And he's Mitch Hurwitz's writing partner.
He's genius.
A genius guy. He said so many funny things to me over the years. I actually told a story about Jim Valley on Conan's podcast a couple of years ago because he knows. But anyway, Jimmy said,
it always circles back to Conan, but go ahead.
I know,
Sorry.
it does.
Yeah.
He's everywhere. He's watching us through these cameras.
Yeah.
He said to me, there's a lot of people say, you got nothing left to lose if you come from nothing and you try out in showbiz. And he was like, I think it's the opposite. You might as well. Again, I'm not puffing myself up, but he was like, you had more of a path and a thing that you could have gone down, and you decided to take take a leap and try to do this. And I think that that's probably a lot scarier. And
to
it was
leave
scary.
something
Yeah.
to take a chance. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, if you'd gone left instead of right, I always think about how much your life changes just based on things that you might not even think were good at the time. Like, you got kicked out of a boarding school for being a troublemaker, which brought you to the school where you got into theater.
That's right. Absolutely right.
So you probably thought at the time you got kicked, fuck. What, you might have been psyched
Can you
out.
be more specific about the removal of you from boarding
I
school?
was asked not to return, and I know it seems like semantics, but it's really important to me. You know what's funny is that all years later they would include me in the alumni list, and I'm like, oh, now you love me. Oh, I'm
Come to our fundraiser.
Yeah, please. I was just I was a pain in the ass kid. I was a smart ass, and I was, smoking butts and drinking beers and doing whatever, and they didn't like that.
In
at
high
age
school?
16. Yeah, oh yeah. It was Canada, man.
Right.
Anything kind of goes, and so I left there, and I moved back to Toronto, and I ended up getting into theater a little bit in Toronto, and kind of understanding that there was a whole world out there. That was the beginning, and you never know. I've told this story a million times. I got fired off I did a pilot at CBS in 2002.
12 years after moving to New York.
12 years out. And I'd done a few pilots before that. I'd done like 4 or 5 up to that point. And sort of pilots and indie films in New York that were didn't really go anywhere. But just, grinding it out. Broke. And I get this pilot and it gets picked up to series. And they call me and say, "You're not getting picked up. You're not going to series with it." Ooh. They're firing you, and that role doesn't exist anymore. And have a good one. I was so bummed out, and that was the summer of 2002. And Amy had been on SNL. That was just the tail end of her first year.
And you guys were together.
And we were together in New York.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? Screw it. And I ended up starting to do this play, and I was in rehearsal for this play with the new group. And I just thought, you know what? I'm done. I'm never going to do TV again. Boy, they're going to be really bummed that I'm not doing TV. And the world's going to be so upset. And I got a call from the woman who is the same casting director from the pilot. She'd written me a letter when I got fired saying, I think they made a mistake. Deb Barilski, I don't know if anybody remembers her, amazing casting director in TV out here in LA. It's a really sweet lady. And she wrote me this really nice handwritten note and said, I think that, don't take it too hard. I think you're a great kid and blah, 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 or guy or whatever. And 6 months later, she called my manager and she said, I'm casting this show. And I think that Will would be great for it. And he said, he's going to do this play. And I think that he's still so sort of butthurt from last year. And I'd been on pilots that almost went. I'd been on shows that are canceled after 2 episodes. I'd been
it's like you were the kiss of death.
Just nonstop for years. And I was like, fuck it, I can't take it again, man. I just, your nervous system gets to a point you just feel like it's never going to happen. And she said, please just have him read this thing. And I told the producers he'd be great. And it was Arrested Development.
Wow.
And if I hadn't been fired, going to your point, if I hadn't been fired that year before, I wouldn't have been available, because that show ended up being on the air for a few years.
Right.
I wouldn't have been able to be available for the thing I was destined to do.
What was that audition process like? What was you getting Arrested Development like?
It was, again, I was like, yeah, all right, yeah, I guess I'll go read for this. And
in LA.
I was in New York. So they faxed me. I got the pages faxed to me. I didn't even have a full script. And just like a character or a sort of a description, a summary of the plot. I was like, okay, yeah, all right. And I remember I took the subway up to read, and I came home. That was like on a Wednesday. By Thursday or Friday, they'd called and said, it was the same studio of the show that I'd been canceled before, not same network.
Yeah.
That was CBS, but it was the same studio. It was 20th. So I did know the people, and it was the 3rd year in a row I was up for something at 20th. And they called and they said, yeah, they want to bring you in. They want you to come to California and read for the studio at least, and probably test for the network. And for people who don't know, what you do is, you guys know, you sign a contract before you go in for your final network test, a 5-year contract. so that if they like what you did, you can't
hold them up.
You can't hold them up. They can't go, we want you for the job. And you go, great. Well, now I want $1 million an episode. They're like, no, you sign for whatever it is. You negotiate before your final thing, which really messes with you when you're kind of a broke young actor, because that you've signed a contract and you see the dollar amount, you're broke, and you're like, that money is so close to me now. I'm maybe going to get out of this apartment so soon. And so I flew out to LA and I remember I read, and it was the Russo brothers who've gone on to make all the great Avengers movies and stuff, and it was the Russos and Mitch Hurwitz and
another actor, or no?
And there were a couple other actors reading for the part at that point, and then eventually when we went to network a couple days later on the Monday, it was me, and I've told this before, and a guy who I respect a lot and I think is amazing, Rainn Wilson, and Alan Ruck from Succession, right? Isn't he on Succession?
Alan Ruck.
I haven't watched that, but I know that he plays the brother on that.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah, he's great. So it was the three of us reading for that part of Job on Arrested. And I had a miserable cold. I was like, another one of those things that helped me keep out of my head because I was just so miserable that I couldn't.
How long did you have to wait to find out?
I went in red. Alan went in after me. I'd gone in to like splash water in my face. Because I was feeling kind of terrible. And as I came out, Mitch came out, and I've told this before, and I don't mean to belabor it or cause him he doesn't care, I'm sure, but Rainn was still waiting, and Mitch Hurwitz came out and he goes, "It's you got it." Like that.
To you.
To me.
Oh.
And I said, "Cool, Rainn still hasn't gone in yet. He's right there." The other guy. I didn't know him at the time. I said, I knew him because he'd done 6 Feet Under, and I thought he was cool. But anyway.
But that was the first time he saw you in person, Mitch?
Yeah, that weekend was the first time.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he was like, it was so funny. It was such I just immediately, we just bonded, and we're still close to this day. But you've had that too. I'm sure you guys have it right here. Like you just meet and you have this thing and you're like, we're speaking the same language, which is really cool, right?
Yeah, for sure. I remember coming in to do that, and Teddy comes in. He's got some, I don't know, Coke or something, but
Probably
from a
something bad
fast food container. You're like drinking out of it. You're just so relaxed. No, I don't remember the cigarette, but you were just so cool. And hey, how you doing? And the ease with which you could just pick up the script and just be fucking great. And I was in awe of you. I still am. And were
you doing?
I still am in awe.
I do buy it. I do buy it. It seemed very legit. Were you? It's funny you mentioned Ted's ease, because I watch not just the blocking in Cheers, but I watch the body language, and everybody's character is so well defined on Cheers. That's what's so beautiful about it. I was talking really, really well written, and I remember watching. I love the way, Ted, you had so many different ways. First of all, you're a tall man, and you're taller than everybody else in the cast. And you often had to be at the bar or against the bar. So you had different ways of leaning and getting low so you were at the same angle. So you'd lean. Your ease with which you popped open the soda water was just phenomenal. You would do it in ways that I just watch him work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Remember he did that? He'd sort of pop up, and he'd start talking and blah, blah, blah. And then he'd lean, against the thing.
But you know what made that easy for all of us to do is we were always on camera, always on that stage for an entire episode.
Yeah.
Rarely were you not active,
right?
Even if the scene didn't revolve around you,
because it's so
you lived on that stage. You really did make it your home.
And also, but the ease with which you moved and everything, you looked like a great athlete, which I tell you 100%. Was great acting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
nothing.
Great acting.
Is that true?
As a kid, come baseball time, it was, no. We had Ted last time. You have to take him this time.
No, is that true?
No, true. Basketball, I loved. I thought I was going to be a basketball player. Went to Stanford, didn't try out. I walked to the court and didn't even step onto the court and looked around and went, oh, shit. Okay. All right. Plan B.
Can we help you with something, sir? Like, no, I'm good. I'm just
fine.
making
Good.
sure that all the
the nets.
That's so funny. It's kind of like it's like Henry when you meet Henry Winkler and you're like the first time you're like, oh, here's the Fonz. He's like, now what can I get you? What are you doing? How are you? Sit over here. Let me get you a chair. And you're like, Jesus, I want to meet the Fonz, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But he's the sweetest guy.
He's the sweetest man I know. I think. Yeah, God, there's so many things about that. I can't believe, Ted, that you did move like an athlete so well.
Jimmy Burrows helped me.
Really?
By saying, and it got me a lot of close-ups too, just reach down and grab yourself periodically in the nuts. And, athletes, for some reason, touch themselves a lot.
Did he really?
He did say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. I heard a new, speaking of, new thing last night, like a term, BDE. Have you guys heard of it?
BDE, no.
Yeah, big dick energy.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know if you're able to say things like that.
Big dick.
Oh, yeah. You can say it.
Cool. They said
I
cool.
always say, yes, I've heard of it, but I
he has that in
but can
spades.
you pump him
he's a
closer
real
with that camera over there? Go ahead, Woody. I'm sorry. I interrupted.
He's a real leading man.
He had the BDE for sure on that show. And I have BSE. Which is
trying to know.
Big snuggle energy.
Hey,
the ladies
it's
love
working.
that. Yeah.
Can I ask another silly acting question? Where do you, if you had to say, where do you work from? What inside of you? I work from shame, basically.
Is that true?
For some strange reason, I got a lot of shame, and it serves me well as far as energizing me. I'm kind of being funny, but not completely. There's something to that. Where do you work from? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I work from the same place that got me kicked out of boarding school, which is mischief.
Yeah.
I find mischief to be really fun, and I just love trying to find the saying the thing that you're. I'm not a shock, and I'm not really blue in that way,
Yeah.
but I like when there are constraints on me. It's funny you say that about in a straight thing. I like it even comedically. I like being in a situation that you're not supposed to say something and seeing how far
You can.
I can.
Yeah.
That's why I used to love being on talk shows. I used to love going on Conan all the time.
You are a master.
On Letterman. It was full thing, but it was fun because I know what that line is and what is acceptable and what can you infer before standards and practices cut your bit. Now I want to get into it. What was it like being on the #1 sitcom in the world back in the 80s where there was no social media? There was no TMZ bullshit. Was it just the fucking best?
It was really fun.
It was.
Yeah.
It was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was rock and roll.
You're allowed to say it. This is a safe space.
Yeah.
Well, he was quite tied up in a way. But yeah, it was rock and roll.
Marriage.
Oh, you were married. Okay.
Kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been there. Sure.
Yeah.
But still, you guys were on Cheers, like one of the great companies of all time. And again, in a time where people weren't out to pull you down. Now the game is let's put people up there and let's get the snipers out and see who can take the best for a shot at them.
Right.
It wasn't like that back then, right?
Yeah, it's gotten very cynical.
If it were, then we didn't know about it like we do now. Yeah. You know what? Our saving graces, we had Jimmy, Les, and Glenn. We had writing. We had cast members that were all really interesting, and everyone was so whatever that if someone was an asshole for a week, they couldn't last being an asshole because everyone would turn and go, "Hey, knock it off." So we didn't. I guess we did get high and mighty, didn't we? A little bit.
Well, you never did that I saw. I felt like I did. That's the worst thing about fame. It's great.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Everybody coming up. You're great, man. You're great. And then as soon as you start believing it, there's the slippery slope.
It's great when you're standing in line somewhere and they're like, "Hey, come on in."
Right.
Yeah.
That's when it's great. And like you said, it's great. What's terrible about somebody saying, hey man, I love you. I think that you're the greatest. Like that's
amazing.
That's amazing. It feels really good. But you're right. I always think about, there are certain sort of comedians or comedic actors I think about who people go, what happened to that guy? And I always think that the moment that you think that you've got it all figured out is the moment you've lost it. And I always think that to myself. You've never got it. You're never going to have, because there is no it. It's a constantly, right? The world and everything is constantly changing, and you've got to sort of stay open and keep looking for new ways to. Ted, I think about this, about what you've done all the time. Both of you guys have gone from Cheers. You've had no fewer than 5 hit television shows since then that I can think of. You had Becker, Good Place. You had Damages. I forgot about Damages. The one with the Bored to Death.
Bored to Death. I love that one
with Zach and
This is great podcast, by the way. This is
no, but it's true. And you made all those movies. You
did all those Curb episodes.
Made tons of movies in between. Woody, you made 1 million movies and limited series and comedies and dramas and
Oscar nominations.
Shows you prostitution pays.
I mean, but it's pretty wild, and I love that. And I get the sense that both you guys don't feel like you've got it figured out. So maybe you had a moment where you thought you were a big shot, but I don't buy it.
But it's a little bit of the actor's illness. You never think you're good enough. You always feel a little bit like an imposter. You always don't think you're going to get another job.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that goes away. Let's heap some praise onto you.
Before you heap the praise, can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
Do you ever have that thing when you're like in a room with a bunch of Hollywood types and you feel kind of like
it's my life.
You don't feel like you belong. Like you were just saying, like these guys are.
Totally. I used to imagine that I had you walk into these parties and I felt like there was a number on a piece of paper that stuck to my back, my, ranking in Hollywood.
Come on, really?
Yes. And you'd sit there and you'd reach around and go, fuck, 1,200? Really? I'm the 1,200th?
No,
you never had that, did
not
you?
really.
You're like, I belong in this room, and
not only do I
everybody
belong,
loves me.
Not only do I belong, but these fucking people are the worst. They're so untalented. I can't believe how lucky all these motherfuckers are. This person can barely read. This person can barely speak.
That's so healthy. I love that.
You're like, I own this room.
I fucking kill it. No, you do have those things. I mean, I've gone through I think that it's one of the benefits of getting older that I just put less value on shit like that. Yeah. And there was a time coming off Arrested Development, if I'm being totally honest, where I thought that I was going to where I had a lot of opportunity and I felt like I squandered it. Which reminds me, I got to fire my manager today. And I've had those moments where I was like, I could have had this or I could have had that, and I didn't. And I always remind myself that I'm on my path. The universe is always taking care of me.
Yeah.
So whatever that's going to be, and it's good. And I might not have the thing. I don't know what is coming for me, but it's fucking great. And it is right around the corner. And you know how I know that? Because it always has been. So I just got to bank on that. It's the only thing. That's kind of the only faith I really have.
You and Dax Shepard, to me, are both brilliant. Sobriety, I think, plays a big part in who you are.
Yeah.
And it does with Dax. I'm assuming you talk freely about it, and if not, I apologize.
No, I do.
But what it gives you, besides your natural, brilliant, funny, fast mind, you also have a humility and a curiosity about you that's really cool, man.
But deep down, a quitter.
But
thank you. Usually I was laying pipe for Woody. I knew he was going to be there.
It's so true. It's so true. So lame. I know it is true. Well, I think, I've had my ass kicked a couple times, and I've in every different way. And yeah, I've talked about my sobriety and I made this show, Flaked, was sort of about it and I talked openly about going back out again and all that kind of stuff. And life is complicated. Yeah. It's not a straight line. And I'm learning as I go. I'm half of the bag now, you know? Be so good at like, fuck, I think he's drinking.
I'm so sorry I brought it up. I'm so sorry.
No wonder you felt so uncomfortable when Teddy brought up the sobriety.
Yeah, man, I'm really sober. I'm really sober.
Love sobriety.
I love it. But it's I don't know. It's I think maybe sometimes my confidence is unwarranted, you know, like undeserved. But at the same time, I do really just think about like, you know, it's that stupid thing of like, we're all just people. And so those people that we sort of put on the thing, we think that they're this, and you go into a social situation, I'm like, I guarantee you, they're thinking about the number ranking system worse than you are.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
I bet Ted's a great at in any social situation.
Well, you would think.
By comparison.
But he does start to fade into starts, if he gets a little high or, you know, you start to just back off of the.
I literally the other day told Woody that I would join him for lunch, but you go ahead, I'll catch up with you. And which is what I said every night at Cheers, at the end of Cheers, I'll catch up. And I never did. I just went.
Home.
And you literally thought I wasn't going to come to lunch the other day.
I didn't think you were coming. Yeah. Remember when you came in? I'm like, he actually came. This is the first time this has ever happened.
Why? Because they were all going out after and getting drinks and having fun, and you just went home.
I'm just maybe it's not shame that I work from. It's fear. I work from fear.
But we hung a little while after the show. We'd play foosball and have a drink and whatever. But then then it'd be like, we're going to this place to like a bar, and he'd be like, yeah, no, I'm coming. I'll see you over there.
I guess I could claim I had 2 very young children that I had to wake up for. So.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah. That's
just
mature
excuse.
I remember used to be an Ojai guy. I'd heard that. Are you still an Ojai guy?
Yeah, very much. Mary
what a
raised
spot.
her kids up there. She was married to Malcolm McDowell, and they had their 2 kids, Charlie and Lily, and we've almost.
And then Charlie is with Lily, and then Lily is with Charlie.
Wait, what happened?
Mary has 2 kids, Lily and Charlie. Yeah. Lily got married to Charlie Walton, so it was Lily, Charlie, and then Charlie McDowell met and married Lily Collins. So now it's Charlie, Lily, Charlie, Lily.
No
Isn't that
way.
wild?
Yeah.
That's wild.
A lot of fun confusion.
That's so great. Yeah. And so that's where you live here. Are you East Coast? You're from California, right?
Kinda, yeah. Born, but then Arizona.
I've Googled you, Ted.
Thank you, buddy.
A few times. I always say to people when they say like, so what's your thing? I go, you haven't fucking Googled me, motherfucker.
Let me ask you this. Have you
haven't IMDb'd me?
This is truth time. Have you Googled yourself recently?
No, and I have not. I have not. And that came up recently, and I have before, of course. And I've looked at my Wikipedia. We talked about this because we always talk about Thoreau's Wikipedia, and Kimmel has changed both Thoreau and Krasinski's Wikipedia before.
You can just go on and change it?
Yeah, I think so. Like it'll last for like an hour. I think he did it to Thoreau. Forget what he did. I think he said that he was a crier when he ejaculated. And I'm just using medical terms now, just so I won't get in trouble. And it lasted for like a couple hours or something, but long enough. Woody, are you here now?
No, you mean in the room?
I mean, of course, I know you're in the room. I mean, what?
But I
don't understand the question.
You're always
you're here now. I'm here now. Ted's here now.
I always feel like. All right, like, are you in Hawaii? You're in Hawaii a lot these days? You still doing that?
Oh, I'm Texas and Hawaii.
Texas and Hawaii.
Now, you say Texas like you were born and raised in Texas. You're not.
I was born in Texas. And,
shit, I got to.
You thought that because
you not Googled him?
My character.
For you.
Listen, my character was from Indiana.
Sure.
I wasn't from Indiana. I did go to college, Hanover, the Harvard of the Midwest.
Seriously, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Texas and Ohio.
Where in Texas?
Midland. I was born and grew up in Houston. when I was
Woody,
3.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It doesn't matter. Everybody thinks I'm from Indiana or something, but that's fine.
What was the town that you were? Was it Hanover? This is a town that Woody's from in Cheers.
Yeah,
it's Hanover, and he was always.
Well, they had it called Podunk or something, and I said, "Can we call it Hanover because that's where I went to college?" And they were like, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah. They're like, what? Yeah, man, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Kelly, Kelly, K-E-L-L-Y.
One of my favorite moments.
Right?
One of my favorites.
Oh, Woody.
I love that too.
So
that song.
Fucking great. You know what I said the other day? I was saying I love that. And then I still love the episode where you and Coach go back to college. And it
Not
turned
Coach.
Oh, when I went, yeah.
Oh, when those guys.
Yeah, with,
you said me
he
and
memorized. He had this.
Albania,
yeah.
you border on the Adriatic. Your land is mostly mountainous, and your chief export is chrome. I know that from the 80s. I remember that.
That's amazing.
That fucked up.
That's incredible.
Did you guys? So there must have been a lot of years where you didn't see each other. Were there, or would you always stay?
We'd like see each other once a year, twice a year, or at least every other year. Like sometimes you're just like he's doing his thing, I'm doing my thing, and you don't. Isn't that weird how you're someone who you love, you worked with, you had the greatest time of your life, your family, and then suddenly now it's like, I haven't seen you, 5 years?
It is nuts.
How often does that happen?
You've had that.
Weird.
Yeah, I've had that. It's weird. And I remember Krasinski, I remember when The Office ended, it was really a tough time for him because they'd done it for 8 years or whatever. And I remember watching him go through that in that way. Of being, I was like trying to, you're with these people all the time in a very pressure-packed situation. You've got it, everything you do is being consumed by everybody, being watched by everybody. And that bonds you, and it's great, and it's very emotional, and then it's over, like you said. And then you're like, all right, see you later. Wait.
Yeah.
But your intention is to see them later, or not much later, and then suddenly, you do a few projects, and it's like, 2 years went by.
Yeah, and life happens. But I think that's why it's great that you guys are doing this, and that's part
Me too. That's I think really
that's
why we
we're
are
quite psyched.
And I want to meet. I'm really looking for. Woody knew you.
Yeah.
So it was, and I didn't, and so Woody gets to introduce me to you, you to me, and I really love that idea of meeting his friends and doing this.
I was so excited about coming here. I can't even tell you guys. I mean, really, apart from having to drive east, and I don't want to belabor it. I don't want to bring it up.
You go east of the 405. That's pretty rare.
I mean, it's very rare for me. You guys, I hate driving, but I did drive here in a brand new GMC Sierra.
I forgot.
Sorry,
GMC.
I have to mention it. Just if we have to keep that in.
A great vehicle.
It's a tremendous vehicle.
Electric? Do they have electric
They
yet?
do. The new GMC all electric is coming out this year.
Oh, but that's not what you're driving.
Not yet.
You're pushing out some fumes.
Yeah, well, I'm just a working stiff, man.
You got to promote.
I got to promote.
Working stiff. What is your yearly? I mean, what are you pulling down? Just curious.
My yearly income?
Well, yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I mean, let me just think. It's
What's about that?
carry the zero.
And then,
Hang on, let me just count the zeros one more time. I lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, comma, 1, 2, 3, comma. I got that sweet podcast money, man.
Yeah.
we don't know about that.
We're not sure about the money.
Think Conan's gonna sack us after.
Yeah, after the year, or right before the end of the year, because you don't make money the first year. That's what they told us.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
Did
true.
you make money the first year?
Yeah, moment one. But listen, what did they tell you guys?
We're getting fucked, dude.
No, you're not getting fucked.
It's this Conan group. They're all together. These are Conan people, by the way.
No, I know.
You know what I mean?
can
You
tell.
don't want to say anything negative about it.
No.
How come they're saying wrap it up now?
No, it's okay. You know what's okay? The Conan people is and I brought this up before, they all have such a tough time working for him, so they're fine. They're always going to be on our side.
Right.
Can you imagine
Yeah.
having to work for Conan?
Oh, no. He's
Right.
mean. He's mean.
Oh,
He's rough.
rough.
That dude is rough.
But you're EPing a lot of shit.
Yeah, man. I got my fingers. And listen, everybody's...
How do you do the pitch? What do? You go in there and you say, you have to do this because, and you give them one line.
I walk in and I just go, and I look at these executives and I go, look, here's the deal. Everybody's going to wet their beak on this one, okay? And that's their language. And they're like, okay, we're in. We like the guys who's suggesting that we're going to wet our beaks. No,
funny,
it's been it's been fun kind of doing other stuff, and I do this Lego stuff, and we're producing all these.
And then you're doing Murderville, which I really love that. You improvise it.
Yeah.
It's great.
Murderville, based on this English format, Murder and Successful. We had a lot of luck in bringing that over. The great Tom Davis let us kind of bring it over here and try our hand at doing a version of it. And what it is a show where it's we bring a guest on and they have no idea what's going to happen, and we take them through and and I play this cop Terry Seattle, and we're trying to solve a murder every episode. It's crazy. And we had Conan came and did it. We had we had so many awesome people. Marshawn Lynch, my buddy Marshawn, whom I adore.
And what is their job? Is their job to be straight and try to figure it out?
Yeah. And we go from set to set. We have it all pre-rigged. We have all the sets built on one stage. And we just take them through, and they have no idea what's going to happen.
And you mean you shoot it all in one go?
Well, the first take is the most important because we'll do a second take sometimes for exits and entrances and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But really, it's that first take and getting their first reaction. You find a clue. We walk in and we see a body that's been like impaled or whatever, and you're like, "What do you think's happening? What should we do?" And they're like, "I don't know." And crazy shit happens.
Do you keep them giggling, laughing?
Yeah, all of it. Yeah. People
they crack up all the time.
Yeah, it's a crazy show. We did that. Yeah, we did that for Netflix, and then we did a Christmas special. And Bateman we had Bateman and Maya Rudolph and Sean Hayes and Marshawn again. It was fun.
All brilliant people.
Funny. Yeah, really. Genius. Maya's a brilliant genius.
Is there anything else you'd like to plug before you go? I mean, this is never going to air, but would you like to plug it?
This is not going to air?
Well, we didn't decide if we're even doing, Conan hadn't decided whether to axe us yet.
There's nothing, nothing else for me to promote other than just, kindness and generosity and spirit, an open spirit.
See, I took that to heart. He's laughing, but
man, that's beautiful, dude.
You know who I met with you that same trip, who I never got to, we had him on the podcast, and then Bateman's computer broke. It was McConaughey, and he cracked me up. And we were there because it was your birthday. We're walking back in the dark on the beach in the south of France. He says, "Now, we got a lot of people in common who say that we should be friends." And I said, "Okay, man, I'm open. Let's go." And then I haven't seen him again since.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
You guys bonded, and then life, you know.
And then life.
Just so great you're here. And I have such admiration for you, dude.
Yeah,
I mean,
me too.
a guy who got about 52 pilots canceled and
kicked out of school,
school.
Sweet
You're a guy who's definitely should be a loser by all intents and purposes, right?
Of course, on paper, I'm a loser.
Yeah, in the bare bones of it on paper, the architecture of it. But then, boom, you just keep succeeding.
You can't kill a weed. That's what I always attribute it to. You can't kill a weed.
You are so kind and sweet to come here.
Yeah, man.
No, it's so great. And I just got to say, I legit, and I know we opened with it, I'm such a fan of, and this, I'm such a fan of both you guys. And I think that you guys both have such great, I truly mean this, such great spirit about you that you can tell when the people are like I said before, when they're like, "Oh, we're speaking the same language," and at least spiritually are, not to sound too kind of out there, but I've always got that from you guys, and I've always admired you guys and really looked up to you guys as much older gentlemen. But I, all jokes aside, I've truly admired. admired what both of you guys have done for real. For a guy like me, super inspirational and aspirational too. So thank you. I mean
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
I mean it.
Thanks.
You're amazing, man. I really, you just fill the screen. You light it up. The camera loves you, and you're just always fucking crushing it.
Oh.
And so thank you. And thank you for the funniest thing I've ever seen on television. To this day, I still go crazy for that. And by the way, anytime you want to come to my dispensary, The Woods, 8271 Santa Monica Boulevard, you're welcome to.
I'd love to come by.
Shoot
Goes
on
well
down
with
there.
sobriety.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm going to bring my sponsor.
You just sit there and bring your sponsor. You don't have
You got
to.
CBD, right? You got CBD.
By the way, if you get hot box, that's not the same as imbibing.
That's right. That's right.
You get a pass.
And CBD's okay. I'm not like a holy roller when it comes to that stuff. CBD's okay.
Let me ask you, are you a hugger?
Yeah. Are we gonna hug?
Let's hug it out.
Let's hug it out.
Hug it out, and also next time I see you, I feel like I can hug you.
You can always hug me. Are
Great.
you
All
kidding?
right. There you go.